Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Idiosyncratic Fables, a part of Wilderness Fire Productions, where we are cultivating the passion for books, audiobooks, and overall storytelling. Since time first began, we have been storytellers. And everybody's got a story to tell, and I want to hear yours. I'm your host, James, and today I am just absolutely thrilled to welcome my friend Gary Bennett, a former electrical engineer and business owner who traded circuit boards for character arcs and became one of the most versatile audiobook narrators working today. With over 270 titles to his name for publishers like Blackstone, Macmillan, Penguin Random House, and more, Gary has voiced everything from gritty thrillers and cunning spies to wizards, vampires, trolls, and complex heroes you can't help but root for. He's an award-winning, SOVAS-nominated SAG-AFTRA narrator who brings books to life with nuance, heart, and a whole cast of accents. In this episode, we're talking about the real craft of narration, how Gary prepares a book, builds unforgettable characters, stays sane in the booth for hours at a time, and what it really takes to pivot from a successful engineering career into the wide world of voice acting. Gary, my friend, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Wow, what an intro. I think we'll just end it right there and call it good.
You're not the first to say something like that.
Thank you. I'm honored to be a part of this really cool thing.
The honor is all mine, man. And like we were discussing backstage, this is the first time that you and I've actually spoken, or we've met or virtually met, or whatever the phrase the cool kids are using nowadays.
Right. Yes, for sure. Yes, we've known each other virtually through social media for several years now. Liking each other's posts and commenting and messaging back and forth, but we've never actually spoken back and forth like this. So it's
right.
It's a great experience, and that's kind of occupational hazard. We live very isolated lives, stuck in our booths day after day, and rarely get to interact either virtually or even less so in person. So it's
correct.
We got to grasp onto those opportunities for sure.
I completely agree. Now, you have had a very successful career as an electrical engineer and ran your own firm before transitioning into audiobook narration.
I did.
What sparked that pivot, and what was the light bulb or aha moment that made you go all in?
The aha moment. Yes, there was indeed an aha moment. So as you mentioned, I did run my engineering firm for all told about 17 years, and several years before that working for various other companies. I spent a lot of that time on the road, and a lot of that road time listening to audiobooks. I was a huge fan. So at reading and both with my eyes and with my ears, huge fan of thrillers and sci-fi and fantasy. And I came to an end of a particular rough patch of very difficult, challenging jobs. And I just needed to step away and take a break from what I was doing. And I dealt with a lot of municipality work, so government work, which involved a lot of red tape and a lot of documentation and a lot of micromanaging. So I needed a break. So I stepped away and just kind of chilled. And I was listening to some audiobook. I don't remember what it was at the time, but I came across somewhere an interview that was conducted by one of my very favorite narrators, Mr. Luke Daniels. I think his Iron Druid Chronicles were one of the first series. I think that was the first series that I listened to multiple times, and I still go back to it every once in a while. And I stumbled across an interview of him describing how he got into audiobook narration. And it was literally light bulb. Wow, are you kidding me? This is a job that people get paid to do?
It's like,
how
oh my
cool
gosh,
would that be?
This is a thing?
Right. Yeah, totally light bulb. And so I had nothing else to do, so I started poking around, and it turned out that interview, I think, was on ACX University, maybe. So that was the first time I heard of ACX, and I thought, oh, this is kind of cool. So I started plunking around and doing some searches, and and I stumbled across some blog post or help article that described how to start in the audiobook narration industry. And it even included, handily enough, I don't know if it still has it, a little Amazon wish list of like a starter kit, narrator starter kit, which included a little mic and an interface and maybe a couple other things, a mic stand or something. I thought, well,
Right.
let's give this a shot. Why not? So I bought all the equipment and transformed my home office with a bunch of moving blankets and set up my little mic and loaded up Audacity on my laptop, and I just started playing around, and they had a little sample script that you could even read to practice on, and as soon as I started talking into that mic and recording and reading that script, I thought, wow, this is really, really cool.
And what year
So
did you start?
this was late 2017.
Okay.
So, and so I played around a little more, got a little more comfortable with the software, with the mic placement, read up a lot about how to work the software, how to speak into the mic properly, and so on. And I got on to ACX and created a narrator profile, and just started looking out just for the fuck of it, for the for for the fun of it. I don't know. Is this a PG-13 podcast or what?
It is.
Pardon my
You'll
French.
be all right.
Just for the fun of it, I pulled up a couple little children's books to audition for, just to see what I could do. And so I submitted some auditions, and I think within a day I got offers to narrate these 3 little children's short stories. I thought, 2 things occurred to me at that moment. I thought, wow, this is real. I can do this. And the second thing is, I have no idea what I'm doing. So I immediately started searching for voice acting classes, and I found a couple local one and a remote virtual voice acting class, and immediately enrolled and started working with them, training to be able to use my voice as the instrument that I wanted to use it for, and put out the 3 books, and I was hooked. That was all she wrote. And so yeah, and I got those done, and I auditioned for another one, and got that one. That was a full size book, my first full size book. Excuse me, and just just started rolling with it. I did that part time for about a year and a half. I think that was 2018. Yeah, about halfway through 2019. And at the time, I was still kind of on the fence as to whether I wanted to do audiobook narration or commercial VO. And so I'd taken a few VO specific voiceover classes during that period as well, and some acting classes and such. Um, and I wasn't really sure which way I wanted to go until I saw a post in probably Facebook from this guy who was a audiobook narrator, and he was just starting to put together his audiobook specific training class. I'd never had any specific audiobook training at the time, and I thought, ooh, that sounds interesting. And he was looking for volunteers to kind of guinea pigs to test out his curriculum and how he was going to go about it. And this fellow was a really great guy. You might know his name, James Anderson Foster.
Ah, yes.
Yes. So I was one of his first students in his fostering characters class. Wonderful guy, wonderful teacher, really knew how to teach. He's got like a doctorate in philosophy, I think, and been a Buddhist priest or something like that too. A lot of life experiences to feed into the acting side. And the first time we met, I'll never forget it. He told me, he asked me if I was considering audiobook narration full time, and I said, yeah, I'm kind of on the fence. This is kind of something to help me make that decision. And he told me, he said, you absolutely can do well in this field, and you absolutely should be narrating audiobooks. And that kind of galvanized my path, and ever since then it's been gung ho audiobooks all the way, and have never looked back. Absolutely loved it.
That's outstanding. And yeah, you're absolutely right. James Anderson Foster is a fantastic guy. I even had him on the show a few
Oh,
episodes
really?
back.
Nice.
Yep,
Very
I'll
cool.
shoot you the link to that one.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah, you
now,
can even see me in his downloadable fostering characters class at some point. So
oh, very cool. I'll have to go check
yeah.
that one out. So now that since starting in 2017, you've taken classes, you've done some coaching, you are now an award-winning SOVAS-nominated SAG-AFTRA narrator with almost 300 titles under your belt for folks like Blackstone, Macmillan, Penguin Random House, Harper Audio, and more. Looking back, what would you say surprised you the most about the audiobook industry once you stepped inside it?
Without hesitation, the people, this community. I've heard it from various other folks that come from other genres of the art of voiceover or acting, and I can testify based on my experiences that this community of audiobook narrators is truly that. I've never run into a more welcoming, more friendly, more generous group of people who only want to lift you up and help you be more successful. It's been fantastic, and some of the relationships and friendships I've solidified throughout my short career in this field are lifelong friends at this point. So it's really it's humbling, because in my prior life as an engineer, I had friends and I had colleagues, and we would go out for beers or whatever, and we would hang out, but nothing to the level of what I've experienced in this audiobook community. It's truly humbling,
I
and I'm super
1000
grateful.
I 1000% agree. It has been the most rewarding and uplifting community I've ever been a part of.
For sure.
Um, even, and I'm sure you've experienced days like this too, even when imposter syndrome rears its ugly head, everybody else that has experienced the same thing, like, nope, there can't be another, narrator like you with your voice.
Yeah.
So don't compare yourself to others. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
just at the right moment they have, the right words to lift you up, and they also want you to succeed.
Yeah.
I love it.
I love it. Yep. Absolutely. Yep.
Now let's
That and
talk.
the one other thing that surprised me,
Yeah.
kind of kind of going off that question, this is the hardest job I've ever had. It really is. It's the hardest job, and it's the most rewarding job that I've ever had at the same time. Not just because the physical toll of sitting in a little hot box sauna for hours on end with no ventilation and sweating your butt off as you work your way through a manuscript, but the emotional and spiritual toll that some of these
Oh, yeah.
authors put you through. It's it's gratifying, and it's humbling, and it's so rewarding, but it's also very difficult sometimes. So yeah, it's those are the two things that I take away from, if I never narrate another book again, those are the two things that are going to stick with me.
That's actually a perfect segue into my next question. Because you often say that narrators don't just read the books, they perform them. So, walk us through your preparation process. How do you approach a new book?
Sure. I think it's pretty similar to a lot of other people in the field. I get a brand new book. I get a manuscript from an author or from a publisher. The first thing I do is do a quick scan in the book, do a search for keywords. If it's a romance book, I look for specific keywords that might be either triggering. I don't easily trigger, so that's not an issue for me. But something that I want to keep an eye out for. I'll do a search for the word accent or voice or growled or kind of things like that, just to give me a heads up of what I'm getting into. and then I'll do a read of the manuscript. I'll read it straight through and take notes as I go through. Um, I used to be very diligent in highlighting dialogue, different colors for each character, so I could keep them apart. These days, I do very little markup of my manuscripts, if at all. I do take notes on the side, and I have a spreadsheet that I use to keep track of my notes and what I use, what I come across as far as character traits or whatever. Um, but I'm always looking for those pivotal scenes, for the hidden twists and turns in the plot, so that when I come to them, I can portray them accurately and true to the manuscript.
Outstanding.
Yeah, and so I do that, and then once I've got all my prep done, then I'll slip into my booth and get behind the mic and start recording.
Very cool. Now, when it comes to performing, you've stated that you have a wide range of accents from British, Scottish, Italian, Eastern European, and even all kinds of characters that you kind of keep in your back pocket for spies, wizards, trolls, ogres, vampires, heroes, villains. I mean, you name it. What would you say is your favorite type of character or accent to perform, and why?
Oh, that's like picking your favorite child. I uh, I love accent work. I really truly do, and I'm always working to get better at it. And that's another thing that I struggle with, imposter syndrome for sure. But some of my favorite accents are to perform are Scottish and Russian, Australian, um, Italian, Irish. I've done a couple first person Irish books, and I absolutely love that. For some reason, some accents come easier, and I'm sure a lot of narrators can say the same thing. Irish comes super easy to me. It's like just rolls off my tongue without much effort, without any thinking. So that's one of my favorites. The kind of characters that I love to voice are villains. The dark. I like to go to the dark side for sure. Um,
I hear the dark side has donuts.
they do have cookies.
Yes.
Yeah, I absolutely love the other side of this switch and getting into the meat of those characters that are maybe not the hero of the story, but the anti-hero or the ones opposing the main characters. Those are always really fun.
Do you have any memorable moments from one of your favorite characters?
Hmm. Wow, that's a tough one. Several several pop out at me. And in fact, I was just on. So we just had a book go live. What's today? Friday, Tuesday. A book went live with one of my all-time favorite authors. His name is Logan Riles, and he's got several series going on. I've voiced a, a single story arc that spans two different series. The character is Reed Montgomery, and the original 6 books were Reed Montgomery, and then the final 10 books were the prosecution force, but it follows the same character and his cohorts along through their journey. And several of the events we were just talking about this, and we had a launch party, and I was able to call in for that on Tuesday night while he was regaling his fans with various stories, and that that very question came up too. And what's your favorite scene, or what's your favorite action moment in these books? And I can't really point to any specific scene or pivotal point in the story, but what I enjoyed and relished the most is the relationship between the main character, Reed Montgomery, and his best friend, guy by the name of Turk. And just the way it progressed and grew and solidified and changed up and down throughout the 16 books in that series. And it was really gratifying. Super cool.
Oh, that's awesome. What would you say are some of the biggest technical and performance challenges in long form narration?
Hmm. Performance wise, what I struggle with the most is staying engaged, being laser focused on the text and the story throughout. I try to get maybe um, uh, record for a couple hours, 2 or 3 hours, and take a break and record for another 2 or 3 hours. That's been my kind of standard schedule. And by the time that second session comes around and I'm toward the end of that recording session, it's always a struggle for me to keep the intensity that I started with of the day and keep that going throughout the entire day of recording. That's hard. That's really difficult. And usually I need to take a couple quick breaks and get up and move my body and do a quick lap around the house or something, and or maybe take the dogs for a walk for a little longer break, just to clear my head and recharge and reset so that I can keep that focus going. Um, Technically, I mean, as being an engineer, I am really good at computers and software and hardware and interconnecting connections and all sorts of stuff. So um, I don't really, I've really never struggled or encountered any daunting technical issues with getting my rig set up. So
Well, that's good.
yeah, I'm fortunate that way.
Yeah. So given the 2 to 3 hour sessions, you take a break and then another 2 to 3 hour session, what are some best practices you do for maintaining vocal health?
You just saw it. Drink a lot of water. Yeah, I drink a ton of water. Obviously, you need to stay hydrated. I have one of these little vocal mist thing that I start out each session with
Okay.
to just loosen up and lubricate my vocal cords. I have a straw phonation that I do, my little straw here. Um, that's another thing to just loosen up your cords and keep everything loose and well lubricated. And then, as I alluded to just a minute ago, lots of breaks. Um,
Yeah.
and not just stopping, sitting here and stopping, but getting out of the booth, getting your blood flowing through your body. I've got, I can't really see it. I've got one of those. There's a name for it. It's a rack with a bunch of bars, um, and a little pull-up bar
Oh, yeah, yeah.
right outside my booth. And so I use it to stretch and pull out my arms and do a dead bug hang for a little bit, just to get my body reset and remember that it's a body and not just a voice.
Nice.
So
So now let's talk about the different genres you've done. Thrillers, mysteries, sci-fi, fantasy, historical fiction. I'm sure there's more. Do
a
you
lot of
have a
nonfiction.
favorite?
Yeah.
Was that?
A lot of nonfiction too. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which one was your bleh,
Ugh.
which one is your favorite genre to narrate?
Again, that's a hard question because I can come up with some really great books in every genre I've had the pleasure of and been blessed to narrate. My very first, well, not my very first book, but the my first influential book that I read when I was a kid, I think, was The Hobbit,
Ooh,
and then on into the Fellowship of the Ring and all. And and that's always can kind of been part of my book DNA, if you will. But then right alongside that, I grew up and read at about the same time. I grew up and read all the Asimov books, Foundation series, and then the Robot series, and absolutely adored those. And so, sci-fi and fantasy really have been neck and neck as what has been the most inspirational to me as a kid growing up. So I'd have to go back and say those two probably my favorite genres. But then again, I'm listening right now. I'm listening, and this is kind of fantasy too. I'm listening for the fourth time around, fifth time around, maybe. So I read this series at least two or three times. Um, before I found the audiobook versions, and then I've listened to the audiobook versions of this series, and I'm listening to the to the series again. I think like the fourth or fifth time. It's the Dresden Chronicles,
Oh
Dresden
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Files, Jim Butcher, and my God, when I want to get some inspiration for what I do behind the mic, all I need to do is listen to James Marsters. He's a wizard. He's amazing, and that series is so great on so many levels. So there's another fantasy, but then I spent a lot of time reading through the Mitch Rapp books and the Scott Harvath books and a bunch of other thriller franchises. And probably right now, half of my entire portfolio is thrillers, I would guess. So thrillers, I'd say I've got a three-pronged stool, three-legged stool of my favorite genres, and that would be fantasy, sci-fi, and thrillers. And
Gotcha.
trying to pick one of those out of the three as my favorites is like taking a leg out of that stool. I've just topple over. So
I love that analogy, and I may use that one for my
there you
own.
go.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
All right. So aside from favoritism, let's talk about the writing style for each of those genres. How does the style of the writing change your performance approach?
Hmm. You can get a lot of clues from how the book is written as to the tone and the pace that the performance kind of um, that leans into. Um, but it's I don't know if it's actually if there's um, a gold standard that each genre uh, complies to as far as how the book is written, how the story is written. It's more for me. It's just it. I take them each kind of individually as the author's words and how they decided to make that book come alive, and then I just try to channel how the author was feeling and how the author wrote those words down to influence and guide my performance. So I don't know if that's a really good answer, but
No, it is a good answer. I
okay.
appreciate for the aspiring narrators or voice actors that are listening in right now, what practical advice would you give someone just starting out?
Every time I get asked that same question, I give the same answer. Get thee to narratorsroadmap.com. Period.
Simple enough. And so,
That's the best starting resource. That's the best resource that I know of for a narrator at any stage of the game, especially for aspiring and new narrators, but also for people at the middle of their career and even for people in the for veteran narrators. There's information galore throughout. And Karen's done an amazing job with that site, and
yes,
she
she
deserves to
has.
be congratulated and applauded and lauded because it's a fantastic resource. So that and training, acting courses. Take acting courses. I've taken lots, and not just acting specific or audiobook specific acting courses, which I cannot recommend highly enough. Joel Frumkin's Acting for Audio series. There's two separate courses, both each about I don't know 6 or 8 weeks in duration. So yeah, training is the other tenet that I'd recommend for any narrator, again, at any level of their career, whether they're just poking around to see if it's something for them, whether it's they're just getting started, whether they're in the middle of their career or veterans. And I'd use the analogy of a pro athlete. Um, Athletes at every level of the game, they're always coaching. They're always getting trained from mentors. They're always working with their hitting coach or their throwing coach or whatever. So it's no different in any career, but it's especially important in the arts that you continue to grow and continue to hone your craft. And the only way to do that is to work with somebody who has been trained to guide others and something to offer in that regard. So training and narrator's roadmap are the two things that I throw at every narrator who asks that question.
My answer is almost identical.
Awesome.
So for all the listeners out there, in case you missed it or in case you're driving while listening, narratorsroadmap.com, and I will also leave a link for you down in the show descriptions. That way you can just click on it and be well on your way.
For sure.
Alrighty. The audiobook world has exploded in recent years. What big changes have you seen in technology, production standards, listener expectations, or even concerns with AI?
So, obviously, AI is a thing, and there's a lot of discussion every day. You see posts about it and concerns, and um, I'm worried at some level because authors who either don't know any better or really don't realize what they're doing, or are just looking to get into the audiobook market without having to pay the price for entry. Um, I'm worried that the flood of AI narrated, artificially narrated books is going to lower the threshold of listeners' expectations. You throw a bunch of garbage at the wall, and eventually some's going to stick, and people start getting used to that garbage on the wall and think it's normal. And I think that's a real concern. I think that's a concern that's not going to go away. But on the flip side, there is a significant, much bigger portion of the listening audience and of authors who know the value of the human voice, who respect it, and who will continue to promote it. And for them, I'm forever grateful. And I'll never get off the soapbox of yelling that a piece of electronic robot has no life experience. They have no emotions. And if you have no emotions and no life experience, you cannot convey emotions and life experiences in your performance of what an author has written. So that's the bottom line, and that will never change. It's going to get good. It's going to get a lot better, and
Yeah.
and it's going to take away the jobs of narrators who have not been able to cross the threshold of performance where they can actually bring emotions and bring the human experience into their performances. And that's sad, but I think that's kind of a reality. But
Yes.
that threshold is something that AI will never be able to cross. So
I've got a button here in my studio that I got from MFA back when I went on the audiobooks at Sea Cruise in 2024. Just simply says, AI can't cry.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. That's awesome. Yes.
Yep.
And that really sums it up right there. For sure.
That it does. That
Yeah.
it does.
Yeah.
So outside the booth, you are a licensed pilot, a diehard Seahawks fan, 12th man,
Yes,
husband,
sir.
husband, father, and dog guy.
Yeah.
How do all of these parts of your life influence your narration work or help you recharge after intense recording days?
They certainly help me recharge. Getting out, we are fortunate to live almost literally right across the street from a big green space with hiking trails. So as often as we can, we take the dogs out and go for walks through the woods and just reconnect with nature. And that's probably the best thing I can do to recharge and reset is to just get outside. Um, Watching sports with my son has become something that's been super significant and super rewarding in the last few years. He's really become a huge sports fan in his own right, and he schools me on his knowledge. He's pretty amazing. He can name every player on every team and
Oh, wow.
tell you their background and where they went to college and what their stats were and probably who their girlfriend was or whatever. So he's really good. So he's very entertaining. I love watching sports with him. Going to games. Sports is a huge part of my life. both as a spectator. I used to play, not a long time ago. I'm not going to tell you how long, but a long time ago, I played. I loved playing baseball and had did a lot of time in rec softball leagues and stuff like that. And I was just talking to my family or my buddies, that I really want to get back into baseball. I want to join an adult rec league or something. That would be a lot of fun. But um, yeah, it's anything that gets me out of the booth and just allows my brain to reset, allows my body to reset, and just reminds me that I'm human.
Yeah,
Um, then I can take that back into the booth and take that humanity with me and infuse my performances with it. So,
fantastic.
yeah.
I wasn't very talented in baseball, but ever since my brothers introduced me to the amazing sport of disc golf, that has been my chosen sport to play.
I've only played it
Absolutely
a
love
couple
it.
times. It's a lot of fun, though. It's a lot of
Oh
fun.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'd play golf. Well, let me correct myself. I own some golf clubs, and I go out on the courses with my friends and swing those golf clubs. Sometimes successfully, but mostly it's again it's I get out and get outside and recharge that way. So yeah, um, that's cool. But disc golf is really fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It is one of the best free games I've ever played in my
Mhm.
entire life.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
If a listener wants to experience your narration style for the first time, which book or series would you recommend they start with and why?
I'm gonna say I'm gonna give you uh, again favorite child. Which one is it? Um, for thrillers, I'm gonna throw out a couple franchises. The first one is the Silence Jones series by my good friend Eric Carter. I'm starting this. I was supposed to start today, but I may not start until next week. I'm starting book 15 in that series. It's really he is a master author, and he really knows how to weave stories and words, and really eloquent. And I love recording his books. So the Silence Jones series by Eric Carter, or the Prosecution Force, which is the first of the second half of Reed Montgomery's journey, that I just finished up by Logan Riles. Those are two of my very favorite thrillers series. Um, Fantasy, that's a harder one. I did this really great book by Greg Keyes. He's done a lot of novelizations of Marvel and Star Wars books in the past. I had the honor of recording "The Wind That Sweeps the Stars" a couple years ago. It was really super well written. Um, More fantasy than sci-fi, but a lot of fun. So that was really great. And then there was a sci-fi series that I was just thinking of that now escapes me. Um,
It happens.
it happens a lot, actually. Yeah. So, but yeah, go to my website, look, do a search on Audible, find something that appeals to you, and give it a try. I love what I do, and so I, I love every book that I'm recording. My favorite book is the one that's right in front of me in my booth right now. So
Excellent.
honestly, there's a lot of truth to that. So
So, what's next for you? Do you have any upcoming releases, dream projects, or new directions you're excited about?
I've got, like I said, I'm just starting book 15 for Eric in the Silence Jones series, and another one coming up later in the fall. Um, I've got, what's after that? Oh yeah, just picking up a brand new series through a new production house that I haven't had the pleasure of working with yet. Audio Sorceress, Marnie Young and Denise Black, just salt of the earth people, based on my interactions with them. Super nice, and super professional. I haven't yet. I start recording in a couple weeks the first book of a new kind of a thriller series with them, and I'm already loving my interaction with both of them. So they're awesome people. And then I've got a lot of dream books that that I would love to do, but nothing yet. So yeah.
Okay. Final question for you.
Yes, sir.
If you could narrate any book, whether it's from the public domain or one that's, modern day, which would it be?
God, again, you asked some tough questions, my friend. Um, I the only thing that pops up is books that are already out there that I would do a disservice to if I tried to mimic the performances that have been done. But that's, I mean, my dream author, one of my dream authors, one of the many dream authors I have is Jonathan Mayberry. He most notably in my favorite series of books that he writes is the Joe Ledger series, and it's masterfully narrated, of course, by Ray Porter. So,
Yes.
but that's one of my favorite, and it's a great, it's a fantastic combination of two of those legs of my stool, science fiction and thriller. And the way he weaves the two themes together in his books is just absolutely magical. And if I could get my teeth into something like that, I don't know, universe, if you're listening, Jonathan Mayberry-ish, or Jonathan Mayberry, please. Yeah, that's what I would do. That's what I would want. So something like that, something that blends, like I say, any two of those three legs of my stool: sci-fi, fantasy, or thriller, or all three. Why not?
Outstanding.
So,
I
yeah.
love that. Gary, thank you so much for being a part of the show today. I truly appreciate your time, sir.
Thank you. It's been fun. It's been a blast, and I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
And thank you, dear listeners, each and every one of you for tuning in. I truly appreciate each and every single one of you. If you enjoyed this episode, I ask that you please rate it, review it, subscribe to this podcast wherever you're listening in from, because it helps me to reach more storytellers just like you. You can also drop me a line on social media or email me directly about who you would love to hear next, or even better, if you would like to be a guest on the show. Also, I host a Discord server where I showcase my behind-the-scenes work of audiobook narration, so I invite you to click the link in the show notes because I would love to have you as a part of that community. And as always, everybody has a story to tell, and I want to hear yours. So until I talk to you next time, dear listener, peace be with you.